As vice presidential candidate Tim Walz stands side by side, but in support of what could be the first female president, we wanted to explore his history working with women. He was surrounded by women, the lieutenant governor, first lady, House Speaker, Senate Majority Leader, all women who shared the spotlight when the governor signed historic legislation.
A bunch of his commissioners are women. A bunch of the judges he appointed are women, so this guy is a good partner to women.
For years, it was men who made news leading at the Capitol, but things have changed.
Now that there is a woman of color leading a presidential ticket, is there any part of you that says, okay, yeah, I'm a Republican, but part of me that's kind of cool?
When we as women have a chance to be the first, we need to first come equipped and do the work so that we don't hurt it for people down the line that are going to follow in our footsteps. I am biracial, so I fully understand that. It is very difficult when I'm watching this from the distance, putting the policy and the partisans pieces aside. I think it's really frustrating that that is a focus that Americans are making.
It's been a great 6 years. I think the first interview I had after being named speaker, somebody said, what's it like to be, the third woman speaker or a woman speaker? And I said, just like being a speaker, but I'm a woman. And so I think for him, it doesn't faze him. It's we're full partners. I didn't have to worry about any of that bro energy.
What you'll hear is great sound bites. You'll hear great things about what he thinks he has pushed through. I have had a lot of opportunities on a national level. Governor Walz is being portrayed of that person that kind of represents rural Minnesota. I live in greater Minnesota. I am literally in greater Minnesota. And anyone that I talk to, and this is across the state, not just my district, but they always point back to 2018. Governor Walz said, don't worry about the maps. Don't worry about the rest of Minnesota. It's just rocks and cows out there. That does not sit well with anyone from greater Minnesota.
A government that looks more and more like the people of Minnesota with each passing election.
Lieutenant Governor Flanagan has been a governing partner with Walz, growing the role and making history, with perhaps more ahead.
Do I still go like, what? Is this really happening? Oh yeah. It is very intentional because that's how we ran. We ran together for over a year. We talked about being partners. We wanted to make sure that the state of Minnesota knew what they were getting with the two of us.
Peggy, like Tim, is House trained, where all great leaders start, the House of Representatives, whether it's federal or state.
Here at the state capitol, Governor Walz has also had to work with the first woman and person of color to lead the House Republican caucus, and that relationship hasn't always been smooth sailing.
Governor Walz is the only governor that I've served with. And then now, the last 2 years as leader of my caucus. And so I've had kind of an external look and a little bit further internal look as far as how it has been to work with him. Over the last 2 years, full Democrat trifecta, in the state, we know that we came in with an $18 billion surplus, and that was spent. We have concerns about the looming deficit. I thought we would have been included in the process just a little bit more than we were.
It's going to be a slugfest. I think that people who like Donald Trump are motivated to show up and vote. I think that it's a high interest election. It's a presidential election. We always have more turnout in those years. I think the last presidential election we had in 2020, we had a turnout of like 78.8%. Minnesotans like to vote. They'll be there. And I think we'll have a lot of really close races in the House. But I think that Walz being on the ballot probably helps us a little bit more.
3 out of the 4 of legislative leaders that he worked with are women. How would you say he works with women?
I don't feel like I could notice a difference in how he worked. I think as we get into these roles, and we have been chosen for these roles because we actually have what it takes to fulfill the job ahead of us.
How about enthusiasm? We talk about those crowds. What do you think it means down ballot for you? In the biggest race really in Minnesota is the House race.
Oh, really night and day at the doors. Tim Walz just magnifies that because they have the same kind of energy. They are both people with phenomenal smiles.
What does maybe a re-energized Democratic base, a local guy, do to affect what you expected to be a very close race for House control?
Our plan initially, high level, find great candidates that are well known in their districts that will work hard and become even better legislators. Even with the focus on a national level, That plan has not changed.
The Tim Walz energy is just classic Tim Walz, right? Like he's into that. He's a former teacher, former coach, and so he's got that experience. He's had to be entertaining to teenagers, and he's evidently picked up how to do that.
The First Lady has also played a prominent role in the Walz administration, giving speeches and attending bill signings.
Oh, hi. Good to see you. This is exciting. You did make it.
I could tell when he left in the morning that he was really hopeful that I would get there.
Now Gwen is by her husband's side on the national stage.
I make no mistake about it. Tim is going to make the decisions, and he did when he was in Congress.